Welcome back to the channel. Today we're not working on that STI. We're working on that STI. So a company called DC Power reached out to me. They're located down in California and they make some crazy cool alternators. I've been watching some of their other videos, or some videos that other people have done on these alternators. Rob Dom has a really good one where he went through and like toured their facility if you guys want to go check that out. I haven't even opened up the box yet to see this alternator, but from the photos that they sent me, this thing looks nuts. So I just want to open it. We also have Small Dog out in the garage hanging out with us. How are you, tiny dog? Enjoy your water. It is ice cold. So let's get this thing open. So like I said, I haven't even opened this thing up yet and I really want to. It just got dropped off and I just got done washing the 05 just because it was filthy. It's like pollen season up here, so there's like crazy amounts of pollen, and having a black car, it just sticks to everything. So, okay, we got like a box. Is there anything in the box? Oh, there is. Okay, we got like a electrical like adapter guy. Probably gonna need that. Then we've got like a whole bunch of foam, this memory foam. Oh my gosh, dude, that thing is like crazy looking. Bro, this is gonna look so good in the engine bay of the 05. Dude, that thing is nuts. DC Power Engineering. This is probably the most beautiful alternator I think I have ever seen. So this is a 180 amp alternator. I believe the stock one is around, God, what is it? 90 to 110 amps, somewhere in that range. But this thing is just an absolute beauty of an alternator. Just wait till we get it out in the sun and you guys can actually see it. So with running a 180 amp alternator, the reason why you'd want to get a stronger or better alternator, everything on our cars runs off of electrical inputs and outputs and things like that. So like going through the hull tech for this car, I've been learning a lot about electrical stuff. And when you start to get higher up into the RPM band, when you're starting to demand a lot of the car, you have ignition system, fuel injectors, fuel pump, all that stuff, it starts to pull more amperage, and your alternator can only give you so much amperage as headroom, so excess amperage of what you have to work with. So I have noticed with this car, the 05, whenever the radiator fans kick on at about 205 degrees, I've seen battery voltage dip down a little bit, and I believe maybe just our stock alternator can't keep up with what we're doing anymore. It's also a pretty old alternator. I'm guessing it might be like a Denso or something replacement for this car, maybe a Hitachi. I have no idea, but I don't think that one's OEM anymore, and it's just not living up to what we need to use it for. So they make all of these from scratch. So actually, I want to get this in better light real quick. Hold on. So all of these are handmade at DC Alternator, starting with just a piece of aluminum. They CNC machine everything on here and do custom alternators for pretty much anything. So I am going to order one of these for the 2017 STI also, just because this thing is an absolute beauty. But having that stock alternator off the car will also let me test fit it on the 17 to make sure clearances are good on that. But this black in there is just going to match everything else. So if you don't know how to remove an alternator out of a Subaru, let me show you, because it's probably the easiest thing you're ever going to do. So there are only two tools you need to be able to swap out an alternator on a Subaru, a 10 and a 12. The 10 is only going to be used for the battery, so I am going to be disconnecting the battery just so obviously we don't have live power going to the alternator as we're swapping it out. And then a 12. So you've got a 12 right there on top of the alternator. You've got a 12 right there to be able to adjust the height or the angle of the alternator, whatever you want to call it. We have a 12 right there, which loosens the lock, which allows us to change the level. And then you've got a 12 right there, which will pull out the last bolt, obviously, so that way we can get the alternator out. And then you have one electrical connection on top, and then just the power going to the alternator. So it's stupid easy to change alternators in these cars. If you don't know how to do it, now you do. But I'll show you anyways how to do it, so that way we can see this beautiful DC Power alternator in this car, because I am so pumped for it. So we'll start with the battery first. Let me grab my 10 so that way we can disconnect that. Set our 10 right there. Come right here, just push off the power. So we are disconnected from power. So to get the alternator out, you're gonna start with just undoing the locking bolt for it. That's gonna free up the adjuster so that way we don't have tension on it, so that way we can adjust where it sits. Because obviously we have to take the belt off. So now that we've got that guy free, come over here, I'm gonna break this guy loose. So we've got that guy off. My alternator wire over here is broken, so don't judge me overly. It just slides right out, boom. Wires are off the alternator. Now, we can just come in here and get the alternator out, which this is like the easy part. Like this guy, we just loosen this. I'm actually gonna take this bolt all the way out. I'll do that after the belt's off. It'll just give me more room. So now that we've got that all the way loose, I dropped my nut. Don't drop my nut. Don't drop my nut. We can get the belt off of the alternator. We'll just like tuck it down there for right now. It'll be fine. Come in here. Undo this bolt, holding the alternator to the AC bracket. All right, now we just need to get that 112 out down there. That is considered the lock that threads into the alternator. All right, see, you can see the alternator just dropped as soon as I got that bolt like loosened. Please don't fall. Please don't fall, there we go. Now the alternator will just swing up and you can just wiggle it right out. I'll show you guys what this looks like compared to the DC power one, but I promise you the DC power one looks a lot better than this. Now come on, which one would you rather have? That stock OEM one, yeah, it works for the most part for stock power and it looks all right. Or the really good looking DC power one that is not going to fail us. That thing is so good looking. I cannot get over it, you guys. Like, it's gonna look so good in the engine bay of the 05, and when I get another one, it's gonna look so good in the engine bay of that one. I also want to test fit that alternator in that car today just to see what we're working with for clearance wise. But oh man, we're gonna go drive the car too after I get this in, because I am curious just to see if my radiator fan issue will stop whenever obviously coolant gets 205, radiator fans kick on. I'm curious to see if my RPMs are gonna dip down like super low like they normally do. If this fixes it, I'm gonna be so pumped for that. Let's get this guy in. Same install process as that. Same. So I do think it's important to note that the spacer is like the same length as the threaded portion of the bolt. So I don't think I'm gonna use the spacer. I think I'm just gonna go with using the stock bracket. Should totally be fine. It's not gonna move or anything like that once it's tightened down. Like I already tried installing it without this thing on there. It's just, it gives you like one single thread to try to grab onto the stock bracket, and that won't work right there. I mean, I could try grinding the spacer. Actually, you know what? Let me cut the spacer. I'll just cut the spacer shorter. Give me 1 sec. So I just realized my microphone was pointing the wrong way the entire time, but I got this figured out. So the main issue I was having with the spacer to hold the alternator in place was the fact that the spacer was threaded. Whenever I'd thread the bolt into the spacer, it wouldn't thread into the stock bracket. And if it didn't thread into the stock bracket, then it wouldn't lock the alternator in place. So what I ended up doing is just drilling out the threads in the alternator spacer that DC Power provides. And then after that, it worked perfect. I did cut it in half. You don't have to cut it in half, but honestly, I'm gonna say it probably helped to cut it in half, but our spacer's in there. It fills the gap between the AC bracket and the alternator. I just got the power like hand threaded on here. I'm gonna put a little bit of electrical tape over these two connections just because the clip on mine is broken and I don't want them to come unplugged. Like they won't come unplugged, like they're on there pretty tight. Just better to be safe than sorry. Alternator is in the car. Dude, that looks so much better in there than the stock one ever did, dude. Got the spacer issue fixed. That thing is tight. It's not going anywhere. So all I did need to trim the spacer also. I did notice that. So I trimmed the spacer, I cut it straight in half, drilled out the threads inside of it, and then it worked perfect because if you guys can really see in there, which I don't think you can, the spacer filled out the gap perfectly between the bracket and where the stock bracket, or the AC bracket and the stock bracket needed to sit. Got this repinned. It probably just came depinned. It's no big deal. Got everything tightened back down. Got the battery put back on and hooked back up. So let's start this thing. I got battery voltage pulled up on the access port right now just so I can see what it's gonna do. I'm curious. Let's find out. Keys, door, in, here. Small dog's gonna freak out. I already know it. Don't freak out, all right? So battery voltage right now, 11.68. Let's get it started. What are we looking at? 14 consistently. I wouldn't expect anything really to be crazy different on the access port right now. I'd probably expect it to be around 14. But we're gonna go drive the car also. I have to let ECU Learning redo its thing just because, oh wow, that's better. Normally that dip down right there on cold starts is normally a lot more too. That's odd, that's interesting. So we're gonna let that thing do its job. We're gonna let the car warm up, go drive it around a little bit, try to get the coolant temp to hit 205 and see if our fan issue continues. But hey, so far everything is looking like pristine. Look at that thing spin. Beautiful. So I do want to say one thing with the alternator. First of all, throttle response actually feels better. It's weird, like throttle response feels better. The car seems to be running a lot smoother now. I did just talk to DC Power, and that spacer is not supposed to be threaded. So if you guys get one of these alternators and one of those spacers that you happen to get is threaded, just drill out the holes. It's an M8 hole. I upped it to, I believe, an M10. I don't remember. I used one of my drill bits on the drill press and just reamed it out. You also don't have to cut the spacer. The only reason I cut it is just, I don't know why I cut it, but you don't have to cut it either. So important to note on both of those, you don't need to cut it. And just if you do get a threaded one, just drill it out. Not supposed to be threaded. Super easy to do. So I'm gonna wait for traffic to actually build up a little bit so we can go drive, just because I do wanna see what happens when these fans kick on, because every single time I've done it, it's like, the RPMs just like dip low. I mean like low, not just low, but like low. So let's let traffic build up a little bit. Let's go drive this thing. And I gotta let my GoPro charge too, because I did not pre-plan. I did not charge them like I should have. Isn't that right, tiny dog? Is right. Now let's go see if this radiator fan thing still happens. I don't think it will, but I am very curious. Oh God, I went at a wrong time. It's all right, we're fine, we're golden. Solid. Such a nice day today too. I wish, is it only me that has the issue with cup holders where like your cup doesn't want to sit all the way in the cup holder? Because it's like, what is going on here? Hello dude. Yeah, welcome to my lane. But like something I have noticed is throttle response for some reason feels so much better in this thing. I don't know if it's like a placebo or some sort. I know it's a digital, it's a drive-by wire setup, so technically if amperage was too, I guess technically if amperage was too high on the stock alternator, maybe it wasn't being able to supply enough power to the throttle. Don't know. I don't know. It just feels cleaner for some reason. Don't know why. But everything's been holding up perfect so far. No issues. Alternator is like working as it should. It's working better than as it, well, it's working as it should. I was gonna say it's working better as it should, but it's working better than OEM. Where's my sunglasses? It is bright out. Can I do this in a cool like film way where it looks like I'm putting sunglasses on the camera? I don't think so. That looked a little dangerous. Whenever Subaru's turn, then my turn. Hello, friendly Subaru. Oh, he waved at me. Let's go get him. Come at me. You don't want none of this. I'm joking. Coolant temp 196. We're almost to 205. That's what we want. 194. You're going the wrong way, coolant. You're going the wrong way. All right, we're gonna hop on the freeway and then go back up this big hill that we just came down. Let's see how the alternator does in power. I would say it does fairly well. I would say that alternator did perfect. Throughout all 21 PSIs. You did great. You did great, Karma. We got 16 volts at watt. I feel like that's good. Back on the, 187, 189. Come on, coolant temp. 205. 205. 205. 205. We're at 190. Come on, 15 more degrees. Damn it. I'm just gonna let the car go idle in a parking lot somewhere. I need it to happen when I'm not moving, because if it happens when I'm moving, I'm already in load. Why you do this to me? 205. Okay, well we hit 205 and voltage didn't drop, so that looks like a good sign. Fans kicked on. 203, yeah, so fans kicked on. We'll go park it in a parking lot somewhere. Why are you going so slow? This is an on-ramp. We're going 30 on the on-ramp. Kia! Kia. 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 Oh my God, Kia, you are better than this. Just go the speed limit.
I'm not even asking you to speed. Bro, there are car lanes. Why are you braking? What are you doing? I just need to be able to get to 205 while driving around and be stopped. I will never get over how good the turbo sounds in this car. It'll never happen. I'm all about this turbo. I just want to let coolant temp get up to 205. 203, come on, 203. We're at 203. Come on, 203, 205. Hit 205. 205, 205, 205, 205. 205, 205. 205, come on, hit 205. 205, 205, 205, 205. Fans kicked on. RPMs didn't change at all. Now watch, it's gonna go down 203. I don't even have to stop it at 207. No, you go down. Go down. I can tell the fans kicked on because battery voltage went down to about 13 volts. Fans kicked on, coolant temp's gonna start going back down, 205, there it goes. It worked. The RPMs no longer dip down with this bigger alternator in there, so I'm guessing that the problem we were having before is that stock alternator just wasn't able to keep up with the power demand that the car was requesting from it. The only additions we have for like, that are drawing power are maybe the bigger radio or the better radio and the gauges. That's probably about it, but since we've got that DC power one on there, the car, I don't know, the car just feels different in a good way. It feels smoother, feels better. I like that FRS. Let's swing back to the house. Let's go do the stuff. Let's go do the stuff and the things. So there we have it. I'm actually pretty impressed with the alternator. It fixed a couple of the issues that I had with the car, ranging from dropping RPM whenever like the fans would kick on or whenever anything like that would happen. Anything that had extra power drain on the car, the alternator fixed the problem. It looks beautiful, it performs beautifully, even at high like RPM. When we were at watt, like for a while, battery voltage went up to like 16.5 volts, which is good. Before it used to go down to like 13.5, 13. So having that extra room with the amperage with this with this 180 amp alternator, definitely a huge improvement over stock. If you guys are experiencing similar issues, consider doing this. I'll link below the alternator and the link over to DC Power. Incredibly awesome company. I had a phone call with them a couple weeks ago. It was about like, I don't know, half hour or so. Super cool people down there too. Like I said, everything's handmade as well. So I mean, even when you go and order an alternator, they don't stock anything. So if you order an alternator, it starts out as a piece of just a slug of aluminum that they machine. I'm pretty sure they'll do custom colors for whatever color you want also. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. But if you're experiencing like anything like that where you have extra power draw and it's just like your RPMs are starting to drop or battery voltage is starting to drop, I'd consider it, you guys. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys on this one. So if you like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead, hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, cyan. Color of the day today, black, because the alternator, and it looks absolutely wicked in the engine bay. If you've made it this far in the video, I'll tell you right now, the turbo for that car will be here on Tuesday, so I'm pretty excited for that one. It's like a billet dual ball bearing single. It's either single or dual, I don't remember. It's a big turbo. Big turbo shows up, and we have more installs coming on the 05 because I know you guys do miss the 05 STI. But if you guys are not already subscribed to the channel, hit your boy up one of these corners. No idea which one I'll put it in quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies. Woo!